This interview is brought to you by OKCoin Crypto Exchange, where you can buy, sell, and trade your favorite cryptocurrencies, and you don't have to pay high fees. OKCoin charges low fees, the lowest in the industry. You can also stake your crypto and keep 100% of the rewards. OKCoin does not charge any fees when it comes to staking. In fact, it is the only exchange where you can buy, sell, and trade Miami coin and also stake Miami coin at a high APY, currently at 280%. OKCoin also has a great referral program that if you refer a friend, you guys can split $100 in Bitcoin. So be sure to sign up with OKCoin, link in the description.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Thinking Crypto channel, your home for crypto news and interviews. With me today are two special guests, award-winning actress and soon-to-be filmmaker Jennifer Esposito, as well as Mark Elenowitz, who is the president of Horizon Fintex and Upstream. Jennifer and Mark, great to have you both.
Thank you for having us.
Very exciting.
I am excited to speak with you both. Jennifer, I've been a fan, seen you in various movies and TV shows, so it's certainly an honor to be chatting with you. And I wanted to start with your background. If you can tell us a bit about how you got into being an actress, getting into acting.
Well, since I could remember, I wanted to be an actor. I was a kid, placed in front of a TV, watching things like West Side Story. And I just remember thinking, oh, okay, that's what I'm going to do. Like, it was never even a question. There was nothing else. There was no alternative. When I started to get older even, and my dad would say, what is your fallback? Like, what? And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't need a fallback. So it was that blind kind of ambition and desire. I just knew that I wanted to, I don't even know if it was acting. It was just, I wanted to create the magic that I felt when I watched something like West Side Story. It took me completely out of my world, and it was just this emotional connection with these people that I didn't know. And it was magic to me. So yeah, it started earliest memory.
What was your favorite movie or film that you worked on, personally, and maybe where, from the viewer standpoint, it's always like, hey, this is my favorite film of Jennifer, but, from your perspective, actually doing the work, what was your favorite?
Actually doing the work, I'd say one of my favorites, of course, was Summer of Sam with Spike Lee. That was the first time I was really young, and I'd just gotten out of acting school, and I was, doing student films and small plays and, bit parts here and there. But it was not until that role that I was able to really do something that I knew I could. And it was, I loved it. And then, Crash was another thing. I loved the material. Like, I just loved the material. I thought it was so human and so so bold for the time. And so I loved it. What was your favorite?
I would say Summer of Sam. That's what I immediately thought of when I heard that, you're doing this project. I was like, oh yeah, Jennifer from Summer of Sam. And that's one of my favorite movies too, even though, yeah, it's a bit dark, but it's still really great story that was told.
Oh, great. Yeah, it was amazing cast, it was just, and Spike, of course, it was just an awesome experience.
So tell us about some recent, films or TV shows you've been involved with. And, obviously we're going to talk about your directorial debut, but what are some of the projects you're working on the side as well?
So I do a show with Aquafina called Aquafina's Nora from Queens, which is just so much fun. The second season, I think, is on now. And she's just fantastic, and another great group of people, and I get to be really ridiculous, which makes me extremely happy. And then I just worked on a first-time directorial project for Ray Romano. He wrote and directed his first project, and I just recently did that. But my life has been consumed with my film, Fresh Kills, for years, but especially in the last, I'd say 3, it's been, literally, I feel like I'm in one long day at this point. Like, I just feel like I'm in one long, like, I didn't even realize it was Halloween yesterday. I mean, that's horrible. Someone's like, happy Halloween. I was like, oh, I just feel like I've been in one long Fresh Kills day.
Well, that's awesome. I mean, you can feel the passion that you have for the film, and it's your baby, and you're trying to get that up and going. So my next question is going to be, what made you decide to transition to being a filmmaker?
Oh my goodness, this is so many answers to that. But I will say, when I got out of high school, I really wanted to go to NYU Film School. I knew I wanted to tell stories. And of course, not knowing anything about the business back then, and I couldn't afford to go to film school, I waited tables and put myself through acting school. And I thought that would be the same kind of fulfillment for telling stories and connecting with people. But sadly, to my surprise, many years later, you realize that as an actor, you're paid to say someone's words, basically. And there's not much creativity that always goes into that. I mean, yes, of course, on some projects, but on most, here are your lines, say them, look cute if you're a girl. And I'm just not good in that kind of realm where I'm kind of just like, go do this. Like, I need to be creative. So I found myself extremely frustrated a lot, and not like the creativity bug was not satiated, not even kind of. And like things like Summer of Sam and Crash and The Affair, and like, there are definitely projects that I did that was like, okay, I loved this material, but there are also projects that, it was a job, and we all have to do it, and that's absolutely great. And I was able to do that. But then I got to a point in my life and I was like, it's taking away from me now. It's like hurting my soul. Like when you're doing something and you feel like you're in the wrong space, I felt like that for many years. And it's just not a comfortable place to be. And then I started to, and the business is, that's a whole other show, especially with females and ethnicity. And, I was told I was too ethnic. I was too this, I was too, you get told everything, and it blocks you from getting to certain work. And, you're not box office, and only box office people can get to it shouldn't be that way. And the amount of insanity that I was around all the time, and I would complain about it, and I'm not a person who appreciates anyone who complains and doesn't do anything about it. So I had to look at myself and say, well, what are you doing? What are you doing to change anything, Jennifer, except like a tweet, or like go out to a rally for women's rights or whatever? And I thought, what are you doing to further how you feel and show real stories about real women, and try and open up this block between ethnicities and seeing all voices on screen? And I thought, I have had the story for Fresh Kills since I was 17 years old.
Wow.
So that's like 3 years ago. No, it's longer. But I have had this story with me for a very long time. And through my career, I had pitched it. And people were like, yeah, great, go write it. And at the time, I was like, no one's going to help me. And it's like, honestly, if you keep waiting for someone to either give you a great job or help you, you're going to be waiting a very long time. So I finally got to the point where I was so sick and tired of the situation, but I was also sick and tired of hearing myself complain. And I thought, you know what you have to do, just do it, sit down and do it. And I sat down many times. And of course, you know, through dealing with your own demons and dealing with the, you know, the industry puts you in a box, just the way life puts you in a box, and you have to really look at yourself to get out of it, because it could be scary. You doubt yourself, all of it. And I finally got to a point after starting and stopping and starting and stopping with the script that I said, there's no alternative, Jennifer. You're going to do this, or you're going to go back and wait tables. Like, because I'm not allowing you to take something else that you don't like. I'm not doing it. I'm not going to do it to those people. I'm not going to do it to me, because there's no point. Give the job to someone who is so excited about it. That wasn't me. And I thought it was just unfair all the way around. And I felt like I had more to say. And I thought, you're going to do it or you're not. And I sat down, and like I said, for the last, I'd say 3.5, 4 years has been fresh kills, morning, noon, and night. And I just kept going.
I love your perseverance. And, you know, there's a lot of obstacles you mentioned that within the Hollywood realms that we've heard a lot about in the news, and you've experienced that firsthand. And I think it's almost serendipitous where the technology, and we're going to talk about blockchain and the platform and how this movie is also a movement. I think it's serendipitous that, you know, your pain point and your perseverance, and now the technology is meeting for a disruptive movement.
100%, 100%. And therein lies that thing people say is like, it's all in the timing. Because if you would have told me this 10 years ago when I was really wanting to make this, I would have been like, why, you know? But it really is all in the timing here with what we can actually get to now, and get to the people with funding films in a different way, because there's so much there that we can talk about too, about how films and the kind of formula that it takes to get a green light on a film. I'm sure many people don't know, but it's when I started to go and get behind the camera and wanting to press and push my own film forward, I thought I knew and saw the business for what it was. And then I really was like kind of woken up, because I realized, well, I didn't realize, I was told very clearly. It was actually by a big executive at a streaming service when I pitched my movie, and they were like, I love this. I absolutely love this. But, you know, it's going to be really hard for you to get this made, because you're a first-time female writer-director, and there's no real big male lead. And I just thought, why? And she basically said, because the male is what gets the money for the movie. And it's like, wait a minute, what? And then I started to do some research, and in our union, they actually have something called a diversity incentive, that if you put 50% diversity in your movie, you will get financial return. So you don't have to pay so much into the union. And when I looked closer, the first diversity listed is women. And I thought, how is that possible? How is that possible that we're considered diverse? So put 50% women and we'll give you some money. That blew my mind. It really blew my mind. And I thought, I have to keep going, because no wonder why we're seeing the same 5 people. No wonder why, you know, and then ethnicity and then ageism is in there. It's like, if you put people over 55 or 60, and it's like, what world are we living in? We don't live in that singular world of seeing one person, one age, we don't. Right. So to me, all the problems that we have in our world with racism and all this ageism and females feeling horrible about themselves because we see these idealized versions of ourselves. It's not reality. And it causes an enormous issue. And I thought, wow, this is so much bigger than my movie. This is so much bigger than my movie. So it really put a whole different fire under my butt.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. I want to talk about the genesis of the idea for the movie of Fresh Skills. And if you can tell us about the story as much as you can.
Yeah.
And, you know, you mentioned at 17, you kind of had the idea. And was it something you saw in life, or, you know, what a situation?
Yeah, I moved from Brooklyn to Staten Island, and it was, you know, I was very young, but, you know, I think when you come from somewhere else and come into a different environment, you really look at it even more as an outsider. So I've always been very much, I think a lot, my brain never stops. And I remember coming into this new environment as I started to grow up, the girls around me were, I grew up in a very rough area, and realizing some of the families I grew up around were mafia, and the fights and the violence and the anger I saw, now looking back, was really unbelievable. I got used to it because that's what I knew, but it stayed with me. Like, why? And I mean brutal. And I thought, why is this? Why are they so angry? And it stayed with me. And I left there at like 18 and went off and started to go into the business and work and everything. And that anger that I remember seeing, I started to really recognize in myself. And I thought, that's strange. My family is not involved in that world, but why am I, like, why do I feel that way? And it occurred to me, it was a position of where you were put in life without choice. I was put into this life as a female. That wasn't my choice. I didn't choose to be considered less than male. I didn't, that wasn't my choice. Just like the girls I grew up with, it wasn't their choice to be born into families such as this, where their road is basically mapped out for them. And I thought it really stayed with me. And I thought so it's basically Fresh Kills is a look at the mafia world from the female's point of view, which we have never seen. Yeah. I mean, that blows my mind in and of itself. It's like, I read an article with Scorsese, and he was talking about The Irishman, and someone was like, you know, that piece with Anna Paquin, like, why didn't we see more of like that relationship? And he literally said, I didn't think of it. And I thought, whoa, he's the master of this world. Like, you didn't think of it? Because I grew up around some of this, and these women have voices and they have things to say. And I thought, wow, that's pretty incredible, because that's how I felt a lot of my life. And it doesn't matter, mafia, not mafia. I think everybody is born into a slot, or they are put into a slot where they feel that they're bumping their heads against the wall and they can't get out of. And it's the journey of seeing if you're brave enough to buck against what you're up against and change. Not only change it for yourself, but change it for the generation coming behind you. So it's a very powerful story. It takes we follow these two sisters in this family, and what happens if you want something different in that family, and the journey, you know, to see what happens, and if you can actually get out of something like that. And it's powerful because everyone can relate. Everyone has been put into some kind of box or born into a cycle that you have to break. And that's what it's about. It's and that's the other thing. When I went out with the script, I got rave reviews, like on Blacklisted, rated really high. I had people offering me like $6 million to make the film if I got the lead guy to be a name actor. And it was like, but he's not the lead.
Right.
He's not the lead. It's about the women. And it's like, and then we would have had to pay that male actor 90 times more than we'd be paying those young women. And I thought, I can't do this. It goes against everything that I'm at rallies for. Like, I cannot do this. So that's why we wanted to go this road. Because like you said, it's so much more than a movie now.
I love the premise. The fact that, like you said, this story has never been told from a female perspective. You know, you always see just the male characters, whether it be Goodfellas or whatever it may be.
Right.
Yeah, this female character is always secondary, but it would be very, very interesting to get that perspective. And
Exactly.
to your point, the female characters are individuals who have their own ambitions and thoughts and
Right.
dreams and their story. So I love it. I love that point of view that you're going to present to everyone.
Thank you. And like I said, you know, it's not a female story at all. It's like, we're still in the mafia world. You're just seeing it from the different perspective. There's the violence, there's all of it. It's just done by the women. And I'm sure it's going to make people extremely uncomfortable at times, because these young girls are brutal. They're brutal. And they're going to show you exactly how, you know, it feels to be trapped in that lifestyle. So I thought it was something that was important to be told. So,
you know, you've been working on this movie, like you said, for the past 3 years, but the story, you know, originated since you were 17 years old. How did the merging of doing, let's say, a movement and a crowdfunding via the blockchain technology and the different technology we have now, maybe Mark, this is where you can jump in and fill in some of the gaps. How did the two converge?
Well, I mean, I'll jump in. The concept was something that we had been developing for a number of years, and I had met Jen, heard the passion of what she was trying to create, and it was like a perfect marriage, because what we were building and what we were trying to create was a marketplace to allow basically ordinary or regular people get the same opportunity that the Wall Street elite or the Hollywood premier, you know, funders. Everybody, it's kind of the rich get richer we always see. And this was an opportunity to democratize films and allow fan engagement to be a part of the movement. And much more, what really inspired us to get involved with Jen was it was much more than just the movement of having equity or owning a piece of film, but what she was trying to articulate with women and diversity and the whole concept and everything she just told you about. It really hit home for us, because now with the blockchain and with the ability to allow investors in a legal, safe, secure manner to participate, it was just a perfect storm. And Jen, I don't know if that's how you felt too.
Yeah, no, I mean, I have to be honest, like, I started to get, as you could tell, I'm not someone who takes no for an answer or stops. Like, you tell me no, I'm like, okay, I'm going to figure out how to get there. So I was getting very, very heartbroken about the industry loving the material, but having all these rules to get money. And I thought, this is insane. And I thought, and like I said, the things that I started to learn about the diversity club, like, I've been in this business for 30 years and I did not know that women were considered diverse. Like, that blew my mind. I mean, think about that. That's crazy. And I thought, I'm going to do a crowdfunding. I need to tell the world I'm going to do a crowdfunding, because we cannot keep going to rallies and begging people to stop with the racism and the sexism and the misogyny. We cannot keep doing that if we're not going to take steps to get the foundation better. And the foundation is what's coming in your homes, meaning the content that's coming in our homes is telling us how we behave in our culture, who we look up to, who we don't look, who's a villain, you can see it. You watch especially, like, if you look at something 10 years ago, you're blown away at the stereotypes that are all there. So if we want to change our world, have to change our content. And by doing that, listen, it's such a structure, the Hollywood system. There's no way we're getting in there and going like, change. It's not happening overnight. When I met Mark, I was thinking crowdfunding. And then I met Mark and it was like, oh, wait a minute. This blows my mind because I've been thinking about this. And here is a way to get to the people, to say, what do you want to see? What do you want to put your money behind? And not only put your money and get a hat from crowdfunding, but you'll make money.
Right.
Selling NFTs, you can then trade it. And I'm a huge crypto head. I love crypto. I love the whole thing. Like, I could talk to you for hours about it. I'm so excited about it because it's what Mark said. It's the powers that be and then everyone else. And I am so sick of it. I'm so sick of it. And crypto, it allows people to deal with their own money and have wealth where they wouldn't have had wealth. And that to me is so life-changing, but doing something like this also is life-changing. And so the blockchain allowing us to do something like this, it's so revolutionary. And I told Mark, once we go and we get out there talking about this, you're going to have so many calls. And sure enough, Hollywood's calling.
Probably getting 2 calls a day.
There you go.
Yeah.
I mean, it's revolutionary.
For sure. I mean, you're certainly ahead of the curve here. We're seeing, to your point, just the disruption that's happening on multiple fronts. I think the internet started it all. It's the ultimate level playing field. You layer blockchain and the ability to have verifiable transactions with finances. I think that's a game changer. And a lot of industries are going to be disrupted. Like you said, a lot of maybe the incumbents and the old ways, the old guard that is standing there, they're about to get disrupted. So I love it. So let's talk about the logistics, the execution of this. Who can participate? Mark, maybe you can tell us about Horizon Fintex and Upstream and the Ethereum blockchain, how that's powering the whole movement.
Yeah, let me, so to give you a little background on Horizon Fintex and Upstream. So we've been at this for about 3 years. What's unique about our firm is that we're a marriage of Silicon Valley and Wall Street. So where a lot of the sites that are out there and the thought leaders and the people that are really trying to inspire the movement with blockchain, unfortunately, they don't come from a securities background. So while they have some great ideas, it's not really jiving with the way Wall Street or US securities laws work. And we're seeing that now with the SEC starting to take notice with a lot of these types of offerings and some of the ICO booms and the other things that are going around the world. One thing to point out, what we're talking about with Jen is actually enabling investors from around the world to participate in the ability to be able to buy into a film and then be able to trade those securities. Unfortunately, under the US laws, it's not available here yet. And I have to say that because she is also doing what's known as a 506C, which does allow US citizens and investors to participate. But unlike an international market, they actually have to hold their shares for a year, and it's for accredited investors. But what we were able to do, and this was with the beauty and the creativity of combining Wall Street and Silicon Valley, is we were able to create NFTs where it allows anyone around the world to participate and to be able to come in and actually be a part of the movement and own a piece of that particular opportunity in terms of movement. You don't own equity, but you get really great fan perks. Like you can be in the movie, you can walk the red carpet, you can meet and greet, you can get executive production credits, a lot of really fun things, or you can just participate. But what you'll see, and I'm sure we'll probably talk about it, is that Jen had brought together an award-winning artist who designed some really, truly amazing NFTs that are much more than just a key or utility to be a part of the movement. But these are things you actually want to own, and you want to be proud and display them in the metaverse and show people. And the thought process is, in time, these will probably become collectible items. So hopefully they'll be of additional value beyond just that perk that comes with it.
Because when Mark said NFTs, I started doing research. because like I said, I love this whole world and I'm still learning, but I love it. And I started realizing out of things I was reading that female NFT artists were less prominent than males. And I thought, can't have that. I got to figure out where I can find. And I researched and found this wonderful artist, female artist from Spain. Her name is Gala. And I mean, you have to see her artwork. It is absolutely stunning. And so the fact that, like Mark said, when he told me, you know, only accredited in this country, of course, I was like, what? Yeah. You know, that really made me so upset because you can't go to the people, but it's only certain people. And that's sadly our government. However, we made it possible that for $25, anybody can be a part of this, anybody. And like I said, we're doing things where for $25, if you buy in, your name is going to go into a raffle that you can have a line in the film. Like,
that's awesome.
That's huge. And anybody can buy an NFT. And, you know, so we made it usable for everyone. Of course, everyone who's overseas has the ability to buy shares. So it's so revolutionary. It makes me so excited. It's just now educating people about it, you know? It's really making them understand what this is and how enormous this is and how this is so much more than a film. And so you know that we really stand by what we're saying. 5% of the profit of what we make will go back into the next female-driven film. So that's another thing that we're doing.
I mean, but Jen,
go ahead, sorry, Mark.
I was just gonna say, you know, to echo what Jen's saying, we actually took it a step further though. And I think this is something I wanted to touch upon. What makes Upstream so different than all these other marketplaces is that what we were focusing on was truly investor protection. So Upstream is a national securities exchange. This is not a crypto market. This is not one of these pop-up markets. This is not OpenSea. It's a regulated stock exchange that's it's an affiliate of what's called the World Federation of Exchanges. There's 250 global exchanges around the world, like the New York, NASDAQ, Tokyo, Hong Kong, London. And then Upstream, which is part of Merge, is an affiliate. So that statement is really important because investors can come into our marketplace and be able to transact in a safe, secure environment. And because it's built on the framework of a stock exchange, if the token or the NFT or the security was to be lost, unlike these other Bitcoin wallets that disappear, we can replace it. And your cash, your fiat, is insured in an FDIC bank account for $250,000. Now, we as Americans, we take this for granted every day. Yeah. But somebody offshore in another country, this is something they're not used to. So those type of investor protections and disclosure is key. But the reality is this is all under the hood. Investors, our app looks just like Robinhood or E-Trade. And you can go through a light touch KYC and know, though, that you're transacting, as I said, in a transparent manner. In fact, we actually publish the order book on Ethereum. So there's no layering or spoofing or market manipulation. It's all crystal clear. And the best part is you don't need to be a crypto expert because Jen's movement is to the global community. Not everybody knows how to go and create a MetaMask and be able to go and get ETH and convert it into this and transact here. They just want to be able to open an account and buy with dollars. Or we also allow investors to be able to come in and buy utilizing PayPal. So you can use debit and credit. We do also accept cryptocurrency. We accept it in the form of a USDC stablecoin, but we do try to make it so that everybody can come in and just know what they're used to. Buy something, hold it, sell it, trade it, and we also allow you to move it to another market. If you want to take it and take your NFT and put it on OpenSea or any of these other markets, you're welcome to.
That's great. I love the interoperability that you have set up with the payments, the ability to move to other markets. That's pretty cool. Jennifer, were you going to say something on that front?
I mean, it's every time I hear like I said, I understand, but then I hear Mark talk about it and it gets me more excited because it's like, oh my God, this is so huge. It's like, I want to scream it from the mountaintops. Like, you know, every actor friend of mine, everybody who's ever had a complaint about the way things are done, it's like, guys, get on the train, because this could change everything. You know, this could change everything. It's just really exciting to me that there is an alternative for artists. I mean, for me, and I'm in the business, it's taken 3 years to get to this point of, and my script was well received. Can you imagine an artist who's written a beautiful script and has no into, you know, it shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be that way.
For sure. And you know, I come back to the word serendipitous. The timing, because we're just seeing just a rapid growth in tokenization of different assets, and it's very beneficial to artists. So whether you're a musician or
exactly,
just traditional artists, or someone like yourself as a filmmaker, it's just amazing what's happening. And I think this trend will continue. We're just headed to the entirely digital tokenized world. And obviously recently we heard Facebook and their move to go to the full metaverse as well. So I'll say it again, I think you guys are ahead of the curve here. Jennifer, you're certainly ahead of the curve. And it's really exciting. I did want to confirm a few things, Mark, with regards to the Ethereum blockchain. Does that power Upstream? Are there plans to integrate other blockchains, or do you think that's the one that you're going to use since it's the biggest contract platform?
We're using right now the Ethereum blockchain. We run it on an Ethereum layer 2 roll-up technology from Ranium. And we think this is really important because one of the things that we found with a lot of the other sites that are out there is that the gas fees are just getting astronomical.
Yeah.
So we don't have any gas fees associated with it. Our market was designed to be where, like I said earlier, it's really efficient, where we only charge 2%. So it's designed to be a market that investors can come or fans can come in and own a piece of these celebrity offerings. But we have also built really amazing technology that we can convert any image into an NFT in 18 seconds. Wow. So it's not just for celebrities and entertainers and musicians and artists, but it's also for everyone. So if you have a beautiful picture, if you're doing, you have a shot of, let's say, a sunset in Mumbai, you know, for $10 or $20, you can auction that off as an NFT, and somebody could utilize that somewhere across the globe. So we're really trying to make it available to everyone, and where you can just upload a video or an image, and then 18 seconds later, it's converted into an NFT. You don't have to be a crypto genius in order to convert and create these NFTs. And we've started to focus, we're working with a lot of celebrities and entertainers that are recognizing that you don't need to create NFTs that you're selling for millions of dollars. Make it for them fans, make it for the mass, allow everybody to have a chance to own a piece of your content or your tours or your images. We've also, as a securities exchange, we have the ability to sell equity ownership directly in music royalty rights and revenue streams and television shows. Anything that has the ability to create cash flow can be created into a security, which is a digital token, and then also into an NFT that can be sold to these fans around the world. So we're partnered right now with Gary Morella and Timbaland. Also, Pitbull is our spokesperson and part of our team and our strategic advisor, rather. So we have the ability to really, as I said at the beginning, Wall Street meets Silicon Valley, combining it to the entertainment community, working with Jen and working with Armando Pitbull and working with Timbaland. It really gives us the insight to create structure and instruments that are important to the celebrity, but also available to everyone.
What is the crowdfunding goal? And once you've hit that goal for the movie Fresh Kills, what is the next steps as far as distribution and getting it published, so to speak?
So it's a 3.5 raise right now. We have some investors that came in early, so we're in a good space. But of course, there's still room for people to get in, and I have a feeling it's going to go quick. So I'd love for people to come join us, because also, so you know, it's not once we raise it, that's it. Like Mark said, we're going to utilize taking things from the set and making them into NFTs. So,
Wow.
you know, yeah. And also what's good about this is like the cast hasn't been announced yet. Once the cast gets announced and like all these other things start to happen, I'm sure things are going to get more exciting. But the idea with an independent film usually is you would take it, go to festivals, and you know, all of those things are going to help move those shares. You know, you get into Sundance or Venice or whatever. You know, we already have interest from a big streamer, you know, from the very beginning. And, you know, it's so exciting. We're going to see where it'll wind up. But it's always been my my idea and my I'd much rather go into the festival system, because if you look at things like, you know, Crash was made, I think, at 10 million, and it sold for a lot more than that. And you look at these small films, like if you go into freshkillsfilm.com, the website, you can see all of this background information. We have comparable films that you can see, you know, some were made for 3.5, some were made for 2.5, and they made 80 million, you know? So that's the beauty of doing something like this. So yeah, we're in a good position.
But Jen, let me take it a little further, because you touched upon something. This is an actual IPO, and maybe we weren't very clear about it. But for international investors, they're buying into an IPO. When the 3.5 million closes, that's it. But then the next day, those shares open up for trading, and investors that miss the opportunity can buy it. So as Jen was saying, if it goes onto the film circuit or the festival circuit, and it starts getting buzz, the value of those shares are going to rise. Once the film gets sold and it continues to make money, the value of those shares will rise. So investors will have the ability to sell if they decide that's where they're ready to exit. And investors that miss the opportunity, that see Jen win this major award, that want to come in and buy the shares, they can come in and buy it too. So it's continuous. And what we set it up as, and this is where we come back to kind of the Wall Street mentality, is the investors that participate in the film get 110% of their money back before anyone else associated with the film makes money. So the investors are insured the first pref return. And after they receive 110% of their money back, those shares then convert into common stock, where they own 25%. So if this is one of those amazing films that Jen had mentioned that was produced for $3.5 million, that sells to be something quite substantial, investors will continue to get dividends year after year. And again, being that we're a stock exchange, those dividends are paid out like just owning Apple or Microsoft. The money will show up into the investor's account. And the beauty of the blockchain is it's a T0 instantaneous settlement. So investors can push a button, and in a matter of seconds, their stable coin will be returned to them. Or if they receive cash, they'll show up in their account the next day. So it's truly a modernization of Wall Street.
Yeah, that's just another layer that is pretty incredible when you think about it. Wow, there's so many possibilities with that, and I love it. I love it, and a lot of my viewers as well and listeners. I will certainly be participating.
Thank you so much. That's really exciting. But you see, it's that feeling like I would have never met you. You would have never had the opportunity to take part in something like this. And now we're able to do this. Like, to me, that's what I loved about this business. It was reaching people through art. And unfortunately, and I understand that when it's a business, you have to make money and all of that stuff, but I do believe they can marry. I do believe that it can be a marriage of making art and also going to the people and creating some kind of synergy between what we want to see and getting things on the screen that matter to everyone. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, I love it. And I'm sure many of my viewers, like I said, will be very interested in this. So I'll be sure to put all the respective links in the description. Jennifer, it's a pleasure to speak with you. I want to wrap it up with some quick rapid fire questions, such as what's your favorite food?
Favorite food is bread, and I can't eat it because I'm celiac, but I bake it.
Favorite musician or band?
Oh my God. I would think anyone from like Jay-Z to like Radiohead. I'm like all over the place.
This is probably an awkward question to ask. Your favorite movie?
That's so hard, but I would go with, you know, West Side Story, because when I was a kid, that was my thing.
Favorite book?
You know what I'm reading right now? By Joe Dispenza, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. It's actually great. It's awesome.
And when you're not working on Fresh Kills, what are you doing for fun as a hobby?
I don't know that answer anymore because this is all I do. This is it. But I do bake. I love to bake. It's kind of like therapy for me.
Awesome. Well, Jennifer and Mark, pleasure chatting with you both. I'm excited for this movie, and I will certainly be participating. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.